for the last few weeks when we've been here, we've been looking at miracles that Jesus did, and we started off thinking about what is a miracle? And we said, well, what is a miracle not? We said a miracle it's not just a trick. It's something that's impossible, but yet it's true. And Jesus did miracles by the power of God, because he was, and still is, the Son of God. And speaking of impossible things now, we've had our resident clown, the great Gonzo, who's been doing a few tricks to help out, just to show things along the way. These aren't miracles, these are just tricks. So, without further ado, here's the great Gonzo. Right. So would you like to see another one of Gonzo's tricks? Right. Well, sometimes you ever feel that you would just love to give your ears and your brain a really good clear out. Well, we will see that. The thing that Gonzo has always done, he's always shown how his tricks are done afterwards, and he's also allows you to do this yourself. You can have a go yourself. But we can see now, there's a lot going on in here now. So, we'll just... And there's also a version that where you can put one nostril down the other. So, needless to say, that was just a trick, it wasn't real. Because all I was doing was pushed it, for those that maybe, like Robert maybe, he would have known what I was doing. But maybe somebody else like Suzanne wouldn't have known what I was doing there. So I was just pushing a hanky under my hand like this, and then pulled it out like that. So that was our trick. So that's how a lot of people, clowns and things like that, will do tricks to try to fool you that they've got these great powers. But they don't. It's just tricks. But Jesus is the real thing. So, last week, we heard about some miracles that Jesus did for people who were very, very sick, and they got healed and made completely better. And so today we've got another video, and this time there's two miracles at once, two miracles of healing. And well, was it just healing? Well, we'll kind of see now. So we'll watch the video. We should be having sound here. We had sound before. Oh, sorry, I know what's wrong.
God's story. Jesus heals a woman and a girl. So part of God's story is about how Jesus healed a woman and a girl. And it goes like this. One day, Jesus was getting off a boat when a big crowd of people gathered around him. An important religious leader named Jairus came up to Jesus and fell at his feet. Jairus' 12-year-old daughter was dying, and he begged Jesus to come to his house and heal her. He knew that if Jesus touched her, she could get better. So Jesus went with him. As Jesus followed Jairus, a large crowd followed him. There were so many people, Jesus could barely move. In the crowd, there was a woman who was very sick and had been bleeding for 12 years. She had gone to every doctor she could find, but none of them were able to help her, and she only got worse. She also wasn't able to spend time with her family and friends because people thought her sickness made her unclean, and she had to be separated from them. When she heard Jesus was there, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his robe, because she believed that if she could just touch his clothes, she would be healed. Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she knew she had been healed. Her suffering was gone. As this happened, Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned around and asked, "Who touched me?" He kept looking around to see who had done it, So the woman came and fell at his feet. She was fearful, but she told him the whole truth. Jesus wasn't mad at the woman for touching his clothes. He was glad. She had been brave and had faith that Jesus could heal her. So Jesus said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." As this was happening, some people from Jairus' house arrived and told him that his daughter was dead. They told Jairus he shouldn't bother Jesus anymore. But Jesus said, "Don't be afraid. Just believe, and she will be healed." Jesus went to Jairus' house, along with a few of his closest disciples. When they got there, lots of people were crying and wailing loudly. Jesus went in and told them they didn't need to be sad, because the girl is not dead, but asleep. The people laughed at Jesus. They didn't believe him. Jesus made everyone leave the house, and then he took the girl's parents and his disciples to where the girl was. Jesus took her by the hand and said to her, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. Jesus didn't just heal her from sickness. He had brought her back to life. Her family was completely amazed. After that, Jesus told them to get the girl some food, and then he told his disciples not to let anyone know about what had happened. Jairus had faith that Jesus could heal his daughter, just like the bleeding woman had faith that she would be healed by touching Jesus' clothes. They both believed that Jesus had God's power, and they were right. Jesus is God's Son, which means he has the power to heal people's sickness and bring people back from the dead, and even forgive our sins. Jesus wants us to have faith too. We can ask him for the things we need, whether we need to be healed or we need help doing something scary. And even though Jesus doesn't always do things the way we expect, he is always good, and we can trust him no matter what. And that's the story of how Jesus healed a woman and a girl. So in case you missed it, here's the quick version. Jairus asked Jesus to heal his daughter. Jesus went to see her. A sick woman touched Jesus' clothes. She was healed instantly. Jesus told her that her faith had healed her. Jairus' daughter died. Jesus brought her back to life. Jairus and the sick woman had faith. We can have faith too. And that's a part of God's story.
Okay, so now, over the last couple of weeks, we've looked about how Jesus healed four completely different people. He touched a leper, and everybody said, "Oh, you shouldn't touch lepers." But he went ahead and he did it. And Jesus didn't even go to see the royal official's son who was sick. He just said, "Go home and just believe me." And the son, whenever he eventually got home, and the son was better, he said, "Well, when did he get better?" And he said, "It was like 1 o'clock yesterday." And that was exactly the time he'd been talking to Jesus. And today we learned about a very sick lady who was healed just by touching Jesus. And Jesus knew it was happening, and she didn't pray to Jesus. She didn't say, "Jesus, will you heal me?" She just knew that there was power in Jesus, and so she was able to touch Jesus. And then, just whenever everybody thought, and Jairus thought that it was too late to heal his daughter, instead of healing her, Jesus brought her back to life. So they were all very different, but they were all healed. And Jesus did it his way. Jesus doesn't have just a wee formula, and that he always does the same thing all the time. Each one was desperate, but Jesus knew they had faith, and he was willing to heal them all. And next week, we're going to look at some other miracles. They aren't all about healing. There's lots of exciting things that Jesus did. So many amazing things. And in fact, Janice said to me, "How many of these can I do?" Because there's just more and more. She said, "I want to do that one, I want to do that one, I want to do that one," because he's just so amazing. So anyway, that's Kids Church for this week. And